Hey everyone, back tuning into the 13th Christmas update. Can you believe we've done 12 updates so far for Christmas? We're up to the 13th now. Of course, last year, the 13th update was a bit of infamous because it was the only one throughout all of last year's updates that really produced some very cold and wintry weather. We will see whether the 13th update this month, or this year I should say, shows something similar. So I'll get on with the 13th Christmas update in a moment. But before I get on with that, just to say about the ads. The 6 articles on the page of Gas Service. Have a browse of widgets and click through the links if there's any articles that you're interested in. And thanks very much for doing that. There's video ads on most of the pages. They open up in the content when you watch them. They'll close back up again. That's helping to pay for the website. And also, of course, the Christmas shop is open. It's been a huge success again this year. So thanks to everybody that's done their Christmas shopping via the Amazon banners in the Christmas shop. You've still got plenty of time, of course. You're not yet quite into December, so you've got any Christmas shop to do at Amazon between now and Christmas. All you have to do is click the button that says Christmas shop. It takes you to our Christmas shop page, and then from there there's a search widget where you can look for whatever item you want to buy. But perhaps the easiest thing to do is just to click through the Amazon banners, and that takes you directly to amazon.co.uk, and you just do your Christmas shopping there as normal. But because you're going from Gas Service to Amazon, we get a revenue fee on the things that you are purchasing. So thanks so much for everybody, for doing that, and happy shopping if that's what you're going to do when you've seen the 13th Christmas update. So just to say about the updates done so far, we started off with several cold updates early on when we started these back at the beginning of the month. The last few, from around the 6th or 7th onwards, have generally been trending milder, so we haven't had a great deal of cold weather showing up in the more recent updates that we've been doing. As I say, we'll see what the model is showing in a moment. It's the CFS 9-monthly forecast from the website meteoseal.fr. It was generated midday yesterday, midday on the 28th of November. You can find the link to Meteoseal on the linked page. So let's get on. We're going to start off on the 10th of December, as we always do. Remember, the idea with this is that we're looking for trends for this middle and latter part of December. We had a trend early on for cold, quite cold conditions towards the end of November. Towards the end of December, I should say. The latest idea, past few updates, has been to be milder towards the end of December. So we're starting off on the 10th of December, and we've got a ridge of high pressure here across France, and we've got low pressure up to the north. So it's a mild setup. We're bringing up westerly, southwesterly winds across the country, and yeah, that's pretty balmy conditions, mainly dry in the south. Could be some rain up in the north. As we run through, we find that the ridge across France and Spain begins to weaken a little bit, so low pressure starts to come in off the Atlantic. So running from the 12th in towards the 13th of December, start to turn more unsettled with outbreaks of rain moving in across the country from the north and the west, but this is still relatively mild air. We move beyond that in towards the middle part of the month, so we're going up towards the 14th on into the 15th of December. Turns really unsettled with an area of low pressure coming in off the Atlantic. That's a deep one as well, 985 millibars, so really wet conditions pushing through the country. But notice, starting to bring down some northerly and northeasterly winds on the northern side of this area of low pressure, as pressure is beginning to rise up towards Greenland a little bit. So this low pressure turns it very wet through the middle part of December, but as we get through to the 16th on into the 17th of December, that low pressure moves away to the east and it starts to turn us colder as well. So colder air begins to move down from the north and the northeast, possibly producing snow in the north and the east of the country. It would be snow showers, and I think it would be particularly prolonged snow, but it's certainly turning a great deal colder there as we're going just beyond the middle part of December with that low pressure clearing eastwards. So then we get a bit of high pressure ridging through the country as we go beyond the 17th into the 18th and 19th. We've got high pressure ridging through. That's within relatively cold air, of course, so you'd be thinking about cold daytime temperatures, frost, fog at night, beginning to run up towards Christmas as well, so it could be a little bit disruptive in terms of those freezing cold temperatures and frosty, foggy nights perhaps. This area of low pressure is trying to come in off the Atlantic, but it's actually being blocked and moving down towards Spain on the 20th of December as we keep this ridge over country maintaining cold air. So we're up to the 21st of December now, and that high pressure is very much dominating the weather, running up towards Christmas. Notice it's beginning to shift up towards Scandinavia. We've got a 1040 millibar area of high pressure across Scandinavia, and a deep, deep cold pool sitting to the east of us, somewhere around the Baltic and Poland. So that looks a bit ominous in terms of maybe bringing those easterlies in with some bitterly cold air for Christmas. Does that actually happen? Let's run on a little bit further. So we're up to the 23rd now. The wind's trying to get into the east with that Scandinavian high. But actually what's happening is that low pressure is beginning to move in off the Atlantic. So the cold air, and it is very cold air, is actually sinking down into the southeast of Europe. It's going down into the Balkans and in towards Greece and Turkey. Nevertheless, we're still pretty cold from that earlier northerly. So as these weather fronts begin to move in, 23rd into Christmas Eve, they are coming into quite cold air. Could certainly be producing some sleet or snow around Christmas Eve, but probably transitioning back towards rain. Go through Christmas Eve on into Christmas Day, and it's the same idea that Scandinavian high tried desperately to get in, but just couldn't pull those easterlies off. Instead, these areas of low pressure coming in from the Atlantic. So Christmas Day, this is the chart 6 o'clock in the evening on Christmas Day, looks pretty unsettled. There'd be showers, longer spells of rain, probably some snow across Scotland and northern England, particularly over high ground. It would be sort of that situation where you may get snow around Christmas Eve, and it turns more towards rain and sleety, damp conditions by Christmas Day itself. But this is a more interesting update, because it is a good deal colder than those earlier updates we've been doing. Boxing Day looks unsettled again, with low pressure trying to come in off the Atlantic from Boxing Day into 27th of December, so more bands of rain beginning to move in from west. This is mainly rain now. We're in pretty mild air. But we get through towards the Christmas to New Year period, and again these areas of low pressure are being blocked as pressure rising once again across Scandinavia. We're back up to 1050 millibars across Scandinavia, so it's having another go to turn the winds into the east, this time for the new year. And what happens is that the low pressure, look at this, it increasingly gets pushed down to the south. So as we go up towards the new year, this is the 30th of December, the winds are backing into the east and the southeast, with much colder air starting to push in from the east. So you'd have snow moving in from the east as we go up towards the new year, as those low pressure areas are pushed down to the south. And here we are on New Year's Eve. We are in a proper easterly here. Easterly winds with the air originating somewhere from Scandinavia or western Russia, so bringing snow across the country. It would be a very cold New Year. You'd have hard night frost, daytime temperatures probably below freezing, and there would be snow coming in from the east as well. So after that first failed attempt just before Christmas to get the wind into the east, it does it by the time you get through to the new year. So this is very similar in some ways to the 13th update that we did last year, funnily enough. New Year's Day looks like this. Low pressure is coming in off the Atlantic, or trying to, probably bringing more snow as it hits that colder air. And then it starts to turn a bit milder as we run through the first week of January. This takes us up to the 4th of January. We're re-establishing southwesterly winds. So after that push from the east around New Year, it thaws out and turns milder through the first week of January. But that's a really interesting update, the 13th one. Again, this year, it happened last year for the 13th update, so it turns out that these 13th updates are pretty lucky, if you like, cold weather. Now, of course, it's quite a big change on what we've had, the trend that we've had over the past few updates, so we can't necessarily take it too seriously. But it's a fun run, anyway, and we'll do the next update, the 14th one, probably on Tuesday. It'll probably be a bit earlier in the day on Tuesday because I'll be issuing my winter forecast in the evening on Tuesday. It'll probably be earlier in the day, but we'll have another look on Tuesday to see what the model is showing. Remember, it's all just for fun. Really, the charts there, so might as well use them, but don't necessarily take anything that you see in these longer range updates too seriously. But I hope you enjoyed the video, and certainly some interesting weather there for the end of the year. That's all for now then, and thanks for watching.